Welcome to Wilderness Wanderings in the Word with Pastor Phil from Lakeland Church in Carbondale. Today's August 5th, and our scripture reading is 2 Kings chapter 22 and 23 and 2 Chronicles chapter 34 and 35. You may wonder why we're adding this. These two passages, 2 Kings 22 and 23 and 2 Chronicles 34 and 35, talk of the same events, but the Chronicles help us understand the spiritual happenings underneath the story. Kings is just a retelling of the history. Today I've called our devotion Making War on Sin, and our focus scripture is 2 Kings 23, 1 through 16. Listen as I read. Put your seatbelt on because this is a hard one. Then the king called together all the elders of Judah and Jerusalem. He went up to the temple of the Lord with the men of Judah, the people of Jerusalem, the priests and the prophets, all the people from the least to the greatest. He read in their hearing all the words of the book of the covenant, which had been found in the temple of the Lord. The king stood by the pillar and renewed the covenant in the presence of the Lord to follow the Lord and keep his commandments, regulations, and decrees with all his heart and all his soul, thus confirming the words of the covenant written in this book. Then all the people pledged themselves to the covenant. The king ordered Hilkiah, the high priest, the priest next in rank, and the doorkeepers to remove from the temple of the Lord all the articles made for Baal and Asherah and all the starry host. He burned them outside Jerusalem in the fields of the Kidron Valley and took the ashes to Bethel. He did away with the pagan priests appointed by the kings of Judah to burn incense on the high places of the towns of Judah and on those surrounding Jerusalem. Those who burned incense to Baal, to the sun and moon, to the constellations, to all the starry hosts. He took the Asherah pole from the temple of the Lord to the Kidron Valley outside Jerusalem and burned it there. He ground it to powder and scattered the dust over the graves of the common people. He also tore down the quarters of the male shrine prostitutes which were in the temple of the Lord, where women did weaving for Asherah. Josiah brought all the priests from the towns of Judah and desecrated the high places from Geba to Beersheba, where the priests had burned incense. He broke down the shrines at the gates, at the entrance of the gate of Joshua, the city governor, which is on the left of the city gate. Although the priests of the high places did not serve at the altar of the Lord in Jerusalem, they ate unleavened bread with their fellow priests. He desecrated Topheth, which is in the valley of Ben Hinnom, so no one could use it to sacrifice his son or daughter in the fire to Molech. He removed from the entrance of the tent of the temple of the Lord the horses that the kings of Judah had dedicated to the sun. They were in the courtroom near an official named Nathan Melech. Josiah then burned the chariots dedicated to the sun. He pulled down the altars to the kings of Judah had erected on the roof near the upper room of Ahaz, and the altars Manasseh had built in the two courts of the temple of the Lord. He removed them from there, smashed them to pieces, and threw the rubble into the Kidron Valley. The king also desecrated the high places that were in the east of Jerusalem on the south of the hill of corruption. The one Solomon, king of Israel, had built for Ashtoreth, the vile goddess of the Sidonians, Chemosh, the vile god of Moab, and Moloch, the detestable god of the people of Ammon. Josiah smashed the sacred stones and cut down the Asherah poles and covered the sites with human bones. Even at Bethel, the high place made by Jeroboam, son of Nebat, who had caused Israel to sin, even that altar and high place he demolished. He burned the high place and ground it to powder and burned the Asherah pole also. Then Josiah looked around, and when he saw the tombs that were there on the hillside, he had the bones removed from them and burned them on the altar to defile it in accordance with the word of the Lord, proclaimed by the man of God who foretold these things 300 years ago. What more can I say that's already been said? Do you have any offensive thing to God in your life or in your home? What are you to do with it? Get rid of it. Don't sell it or give it back to someone else. Destroy it, burn it, bury it, remove it. Get rid of it. Remove it far enough that you cannot go back and retrieve it. This is the second day in the last 2 weeks this subject has come up. Perhaps God is saying something to someone reading this devotional or listening to it. What do you have that you need to get rid of so you can find more freedom in your walk with God? Go ahead and do it. You might want to ask some brothers and sisters of the church for help. God, who can understand his faults? Cleanse thou me from secret faults.